This week on the Road Unfiltered Podcast, we have Daniel Vorlet. He has toured with Dustin Lynch and is one of the best SteadyCam operators in Nashville. And he also flies planes. I'm so stoked, dude. Seriously.
I can't believe it.
Have you ever done a podcast before?
This is the very first one.
Yeah, I've never done one either.
I don't like the way I sound, so
right.
I try to stay off of them.
But this is cool, dude. Just ignore the cameras. We got a
I'll ignore them all.
whole
Yeah,
setup, you know. We're gonna tell some stories, dude.
Yeah.
So let's just start like at the beginning with you, dude. Like, where are you from? Like, what, when did you get to Nashville and all that?
Originally from Charlottesville, Virginia, which is basically dead center of Virginia. Went to a small little county, decent county size county school out there, and was in films class there and everything too. And then originally got my start. I got a call in 7th grade from my mom saying, "Hey, do you want to act in a 48-hour film festival? Do you want to get out of school for this weekend or this Thursday, Friday to act in a 48-hour film festival?" And I'm like, "Sure, that
you
sounds
acted
great."
in a festival?
So I acted in it in 2005.
God, dude, what?
We also won
in 2005.
In 2005 was
wow. So that was almost 20 years ago, 19 years ago.
And so I acted in that, and it won the audience award for best picture. Not best picture, but best story.
No way.
It was about a kid who was having nightmares about having to eat healthy. His mom was a health freak, and he had a nightmare where he had to eat junk food all night. So I had this scene at 3 a.m. I was filming this thing, and I was just eating pancakes and chocolate syrup and all this stuff.
Please tell me we have this on video.
I have a DVD, but the DVD is so scratched up I can't download it anymore.
I could.
So I'll try to find it. I'll try to find it.
We got to show that clip.
Oh man.
That would be awesome.
I acted in a couple more after that, but
no way.
But I liked the gear more than anything. I remember
so
being
then I could cast you in a music video then?
No. I try to stay out of it.
If I had to cast you in a music video, what role would you want?
The guy in the background is blurry.
Like Rob.
Yeah, Rob. The classic Rob one of the
right.
Yeah. Count me in for that.
We have Rob Welch in here. He's helping us out with this podcast, and I've put him in so many videos in the background, and Megan Maroney's video, if you're watching the locker rooms or the locker scene, he's in the background.
Janitor,
the janitor.
sweeping.
He's the priest in Lainey Wilson's Things a Man Ought to Know video. He's the pawn shop
Wasn't
owner.
he? Yeah, he's always the clerk or at a gas station too or something.
Exactly. But yeah, now I'm putting you in
willing
a video,
to shave
dude.
as well.
I know. He shaved for a marketing commercial too, which is pretty cool.
So good.
Yeah, he should have his own IMDb.
Yeah, at this rate.
So.
It's like Matt Damon. Matt Damon has a bunch of extra credits because he likes just to pee in random.
Yeah, exactly. So when you were home, and what was the dream like doing? What did you want to do? Is this what you wanted to do?
I always said I wanted to be a camera operator.
Really?
Ever since I was really, really little, it's all I want to do is operate a camera.
So just operate a camera,
operate a
camera,
camera,
SteadyCam.
And SteadyCam was definitely on the dream list for sure. But it was definitely I really wanted to do documentaries. That was
nice.
The real dream. I wanted to do Nat Geo, the classic. Every kid wants to do Nat Geo and film that kind of stuff, and have the big old lens and shooting some leopard that's 400 yards away.
Have you ever done that?
No, never.
No.
I don't like to sit around that long, so I can't sit still at all. So, and the whole hiking with a couple 100 pounds of camera gear sounds horrible
exactly.
to me. No.
Well, you still do that now, though.
Yeah, well, it's a little easier.
Yeah. So then, kind of give me the story of getting from Charlottesville to Nashville, and why you made the move, and when you made the move, and how you made the move.
So after high school, didn't really know what I wanted to do, and so I went to community college for 2 years. Still didn't know what I wanted to do. Was shooting music videos on my own and making money doing that. And then my mom told me about journalism school at Western Kentucky in Bowling Green. And so I went there, and I went for 4 years and got a degree in journalism.
Oh, wow.
And majored in photojournalism.
Right.
And then about a month before I graduated, I got a call from Ryan Schmidt down over at Fly High, who got my number from Brad Ray. Remember Brad Ray?
Oh,
he was out with, who was he out? I forgot who he was out with. Oh, Cole Swindell.
Yeah.
He passed my name along. I never even met Brad before, but he got my name from some other guy I shot a video for forever ago and said, "Hey, we're looking for a guy to go on the road."
Wow.
And I had no idea what to expect. But Ryan picked me up in Bowling Green May 4th or May 5th. What's Cinco de Mayo? May 5th.
Yeah.
May 5th.
Yeah.
So we're doing a show in Louisville for some artist. And I said, okay, sounds good. Count me in. Didn't know who it was at all. And then I get there. It's Dustin. And then did that show. And they liked it.
That's amazing.
And that was kind of like okay, you can move to Nashville eventually if you get this job.
Yeah.
And so that was really important to me.
Rewind a little bit back to like when you're shooting stuff before you came to Nashville. What were you shooting on?
What was I shooting on?
Yeah.
A Canon T2i was like my first one that I was really shooting a bunch of stuff on because I couldn't afford the 7D. Right. And that was right when it just came out. And everyone was losing their mind about the 5D Mark II, and that was way out of the price range.
Yeah.
So, but
that's what I was shooting with on like Keith Urban back in like 2009.
The 5D Mark II. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, that just game changer. Because I remember when I was acting in those shorts, they were Canon or not even Sony something, and they had I don't know what it was called, but you could attach an EF lens to this
I
weird
remember
thing.
that.
And their builds were so long because you had to have like this mirror reflector thing from Red Rock Micro or something like that. And they were $6,000. I mean, they were so expensive just to buy. It was funny
because I had a Panasonic HVX 200, and I was like, man, I could attach like different stuff to this, with that like thing. Yeah. What was it, like Red Rock Micro?
It was Red Rock Micro, yeah. So and then like having a shallow depth of field was like insane. Yeah. Like that was such a crazy thought.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because when I was out with Keith Urban, I was shooting on the HVX 200. Yeah. And it was a great camera at its time. Yeah. But I ended up buying the Canon 5D Mark II, and I brought it out on the road, and I was like, okay, cool. This is my still shot camera that I'll use, and I never thought about maybe even doing video with that. And then one night during the show, I started shooting video.
Switched it over.
And I showed Keith the footage, and he was like, dude, you need to shoot on that from now on. So it's like, that was like the last day I used the HVX 200 and switched over to DSLR. Yeah. And that, I felt like that kind of changed the game. Yeah. I mean, and I remember they ended up using those cameras for an episode of 24. Yeah. The 5D Mark IIs. Yep. That's how like kind of new that technology was back then.
And even the movie like Act of Valor, there was a whole like publicity thing they did with it. They were like, we shot this whole action movie on 5D Mark II.
So crazy. And I remember when that first came out, you could only shoot 30 frames. And then when that update came out where you could shoot 23.98 or 24, I was like, holy shit, here we go.
Did you jailbreak yours to get like, what was it? What was the thing?
I tried.
Jailbreak. It was like super sketchy though. And there were like a buttons you like don't click or couldn't break it. And
exactly.
Some weird coding.
And then the warranty's done. It's like
terrifying.
But I feel like that kind of changed the game back then, for like road guys video, it just gave it like a cooler, more cinematic look, out on the road. And I just felt like
it was this big. It was tiny. Yeah. Compared to much bigger. And
And then the fact that you could do photos and videos. Yeah. It's just
one
like,
body.
Whoa, there it is, So that's crazy.
That's so odd. That's so crazy.
I know. It's funny because I did this video for Keith, and it was a live video for Hit the Ground Running, and it was all shot on 5D Mark II, and it was like one of the first ones. And it's like, that came out in like 2009. Yeah. And it's like, you look at that and you're like, holy shit, that looks wild.
Incredible.
It looks crazy.
It looks so good. Yeah. What's funny is you go back now and you're like, okay, it doesn't look that great anymore, but it looked amazing.
At the time, it was pretty cool because it was different. Yeah. Because nowadays it's like, okay, people are taking Reds out on the road. Yeah.
Well, didn't you take the Red One out on the road? I feel like there was a photo of you with a Red One.
There is. There's
which is
a photo
terrifying to think about. the spinning hard drive on the back.
Dude, that thing was so heavy, and it had like, I think Rucker and I were talking about this. It's got that big old battery hard drive thing.
Yeah, it was the hard drive that you had to be super careful with. You couldn't shake it too much.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes 2.5 minutes to reboot after a battery change.
Yeah, there's a photo of me with that rig on my shoulder. The thing was so huge, and Keith Urban at Nissan Stadium. It was just, it was wild. That one. Yeah, but as technology's come pretty far,
a long ways.
But dude, so you got to Nashville. So basically, this podcast is going to be, I want to influence and inspire like new and upcoming people, because I feel like there's not really a platform yet for people to hear kind of the stories of what we've lived, what we've gone through, and the road stories. And I feel like somebody like you, it's a little different because you did the road stuff and you got to practice like kind of to where you're at now. Yeah. And so I want to know like that whole progression, like when Ryan finally got you down, you got to shoot Dustin, you went out on the road with Dustin. Let's pick it up there and just tell me kind of like, you know, I want to know everything, like your workflow, your camera that you were using, you know, all that stuff.
I feel like a lot of that even stemmed before even going on the road with Dustin was shooting music videos, like small. I mean, I was getting $150 to go shoot a music video, and I'd have, you know, my little glide cam and that kind of stuff, and so that's where I learned how to like edit a lot too, and like color correcting kind of and effects. And I think that's what Dustin did like, was like even the first video he got was like edited to the beat, which was different than what he got before. And so it was like, he didn't understand. He was like, this is great, you know? But yeah, I don't, it was a long progression with Dustin. I remember looking back at my old stuff with him. None of it really looked that good. I was shooting on a Nikon. It was like, didn't have autofocus for video. And so that was a real struggle. So I had to like set the focus and run a glide cam around, and it was like, not great half the time whatsoever. My photos were awful. I don't know why he said, sure, I'll pay you. I mean, I just, you know.
Well, it's funny too, because, you know, I don't think a lot of people now know you as, you know, a SteadyCam operator in Nashville. And, you know, it's like, wait, Daniel was taking photos on the road for Dustin Lynch
for 5 years.
Yeah. It's like, wait, what? I mean, not a lot of people, I don't think, know that.
Yeah.
You know? So, like when you were out with him and you were doing that, like, give me a little bit of the, like, who was Dustin touring with? I know he was out with Chris Young, because that's when I met you.
Yeah, Luke.
But
when
you went out for the first time. Oh, it
was Luke Bryan.
Gotcha.
Well, so it was like I got thrown in right into like the biggest. We were doing stadiums. I mean, we did a stadium tour that first year.
Yeah.
And so I never had to do the van, luckily. Never had to do like a van tour or anything, and like really struggle and like do merch at the same time. I was only his photographer.
So when you got the gig and you went out on the road, what was it like getting on the bus for the first time?
I remember sleeping on the bus for the first time, and I couldn't sleep. I was just so like, I don't know what to do. The worst part of it being on the road for the very first time was I didn't know what to do not during the show. And so I was just like super lost, and I had no idea where to go. And Dustin was on his bus, and there was a crew bus, and I was on the crew bus. And so like I didn't know if I could go on the Dustin bus and even like bother him to take photos of him. This is like the first trial weekend I was with him. And I remember just walking around bothering the crew guys and just like talking to them, and literally have no idea. Didn't see Dustin until right before meet and greet that first day. Like did not see him at all.
Wow.
And so I felt very out of place and very uncomfortable. When I'm already like, and I went to journalism school where you're supposed to be a fly on the wall and not push at all. Yeah. And so
when you got on the bus for the first time, what was that like?
It was cool. I mean, it was really cool, especially going on like Dustin's bus, which was nice. You know, it was really, really cool. And just like going to sleep and waking up in a different town and not knowing where you were. And like you used to keep track really, really well and be on master tour and be like, okay, where are we going? I'm going to see what's around there. And then you like would just not do it. And you know, bus calls at 6:30 on Thursday. And you don't know where you're going. And suddenly you wake up and you're in Colorado. And you say, okay, I'm in Colorado now. I should have packed warmer.
So what'd you think after that first weekend out on the road, doing that for the first time? Was it kind of like a dream? Was it a goal that you had met at that point?
It really wasn't, which was weird. It really wasn't like a big. I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and it was initially it was a job for sure. Yeah, and I think it gave me the freedom of having salary for the first time in my life. Yeah, like having a good salary. Yeah. And that was really nice. It gave me that comfort, but it really wasn't a dream because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know tour photographer was like not really a thing. I remember looking up how to do, like Roy Kramer was out doing stuff with Chainsmokers. Yeah. You know, and that was like, okay, that's what the big dogs do. Yeah. And I'm here with this smaller artist, and we're doing, you know, clubs and stuff
that Rory did with Chainsmokers. Wow.
Unbelievable.
Edits. Yeah. Like they were way ahead of the time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I remember it wasn't like a aha moment of, I finally have reached it. I'm so happy to be here. That took a little while to get into it. Once I realized the access I had and the coolness of like, being on stage and doing stuff that everyone else really wanted to do. And I definitely enjoyed that too. That was great, you know. And having the access and him bringing me everywhere was really, really nice as well.
What year was that?
2016.
That was 2016?
2016, yeah.
Because I feel like that's when I met you, was 2016.
I think because Chris Young was fall. It was like that winter tour.
So it was winter or fall-ish of 2016
into 2017 even.
Gotcha. Because I remember, because I started with Chris back in February of 2016. I started with Carrie in January of 2016, so it's kind of flip-flopping between the two of them. Yeah. And
couldn't imagine doing 2. It's too much.
I know, and I still kind of do.
Yeah.
But I remember when I first met you, I'm like, oh, all right, cool. There's the opening acts videographer. Who the fuck is this dude?
Yeah.
And I remember meeting you, and I remember knowing that you were with Fly High.
Yeah.
And at that point I was doing some work with Brian and Andrew at Fly High. And so I remember coming up to you and being like, dude, I'm Jeff Johnson.
Yeah.
You know, and like, Ryan's going to bring me in. I want to direct at Fly High and all that stuff, you know. And you're like, yeah, okay, cool. And I was like, all right, that dude's an asshole.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I'm very cold. Whenever I meet new people, I'm very, very cold, which is not a good quality, but it's worked out so far. Because the friends that stick around are really good friends.
Right,
you know?
exactly.
So.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, with this interview, people don't know, you know, it's like Daniel and I have known each other for, you know, that's almost 8 years.
Yeah.
God, that's almost 8 years.
Yeah.
And just the projects that we've worked on together for these last 8 years, you know, it's like, and if you
talk about progression was really, it was your video that I really did SteadyCam on in Nashville for the first time.
Was it? Which one?
I want to say Lucas Hodge. And was it Lucas Hodge or was it Stephanie Quayle? One of those two.
We shot those back to back.
So it was one of those two, and then I did a Chris Jansen one right on that same.
That's right.
Week.
I remember that because that was a back to back. We shot one video one day and the next video the next day. That was
like, okay, like I always want to do SteadyCam, and then that was like with you was like sure, you can do it, and then we did it.
Did you have a SteadyCam?
No, it was Fly High's.
It was.
Yeah, it was there, so let me borrow it. It was
way.
Some little Zephyr rig.
So now looking back at this though, but you kind of messed around with it before you did that shoot.
I did.
Right?
Yeah, I did because I had a mentor growing up who he was the DP on the short film I acted in 2005, and he brought me on to a lot of bigger sets as a camera PA and as just a PA in general. And he was a Steadicam operator, and so he let me try his rig on a fair amount as well. And so I had a little feeling of what it was, how to wear it and how to kind of do it. And then the glide cam on the road really helped.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and I remember you being out on the road, and I would always see you kind of like on stage doing those shots, and I'm like sitting there going, yep, that looks cool. I know that looks cool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, Daniel's up there crushing it with a glide cam.
Yeah.
Because I remember like Monaco was glide cam like king, dude. Like that's all he used. Like he
still to this day.
Yeah, he would be backstage at like ACMs and he's got a glide cam. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
I don't know how he did that. I couldn't carry it anywhere I went. That was too much. It's too much weight.
I know. It's like, wow, dude.
Yeah.
Because I never really like I got into like some Ronin stuff, and I still do when it's needed, you know, or whatever if I want to. But yeah, then you went from the glide cam to SteadyCam.
Yeah.
So then now obviously like it's funny. I almost called this podcast on the edge of the NDA.
Really? Yeah, we're not gonna.
Yeah. So let's play a little bit on the edge of the NDA, like just the road stories, like with being out on the road with Dustin. I mean, not like personal stuff, but just, you know, like
it was
fun. Like, was there any disasters or anything like?
No, there was nothing really disastrous ever. Overall, he was a great artist to work for. I mean, really good guy, good value. I mean, really good dude. Overall, for sure.
Yeah.
There was a typical artist stuff that you deal with where it's just like they're dealing with a lot of pressure, outside pressures that we don't really see, and then and it's a very lonely thing I've noticed too.
Yeah,
where people think that they have a lot of friends and this and that.
Yeah,
but people use them because they have money, they have access, they have all these things, and so I definitely noticed a lot more of that.
Yeah,
and so what was cool with Dustin was because I was with him full time. Mm-hmm. There was a stint there when we started vlogging as well.
Right.
That was later in the career, later in the years, because we were like looking for something new to do.
Yeah.
And I was with him, every single day. And then we did a stint out west, and I was with him for 35 days straight.
Oh my God.
And filming a video every single day. We went to Montana, I went fishing, and that was cool.
And you were editing those too, weren't you?
Yeah, we were shooting all day. Like fly fishing, we would get up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., go hike 10 miles to go fly fishing. I'd shoot all day long. Didn't get a fly fish at all, which I was kind of bummed about, but it's okay. Just hang out and then walk all the way back, have dinner, get back to the bus around midnight, and I'd edit until 4 a.m. and then get back up at 6 a.m. to go fly fishing again the next day.
And then he would post it the next day, right?
Yeah.
It would just be every single day.
We
I remember he was putting something out every single day.
That was
and
tough.
I remember you were out there editing every single day.
I was definitely the most burnout I've ever been at was then, because it was very tough. It was like Instagrams. We did the Instagram for a while. It was just a minute every single day.
Yeah.
And that was like
minute?
it was supposed to be like a minute every day, because Instagram was only doing a minute back then.
Yeah. Wow.
And so we were trying to do like some little clip every single day.
God, that's crazy.
And so that was tough for
that
sure.
Is crazy.
And it was tough. Like we didn't do anything that day, and so what do we post?
Yeah.
And so you build it up. You'd like build like a little catalog, but then that would disappear really quickly.
Yeah.
It would like you build 3 or 4 up, but then you'd be like, okay, cool, I'm good. I'm like caught up, but then you're not at all.
Yeah.
And that was tough too, because that was part of my job, was like kind of handling a bit of a social media. I wouldn't say social media, whatever position that I forgot what it's called, but like having to come up with ideas and say, okay, this is what's trending. We should try to this.
Yeah.
And then bring it to management and trying to get them to be okay with it too. And him be okay with it. Get him excited.
Yeah. Was there anything like, because I mean, the life of being out on the road and like, you know, being with, you know, some of these artists, we find ourselves in positions where we're like, whoa, what's happening here? This is like wild that we're like, we're in the presence of these other celebrities or something. You know what I mean? Was there any moments that you were just
I do remember we were doing iHeartRadio Awards in Vegas, I think, and it was like all genre. And I was super into EDM at that point too. And I remember like being next to Dustin, he's about to interview, and then I like see Marshmello across like the red carpet, and I just like book it straight to say hi to Marshmello. So all I want to do is meet Marshmello so bad. That's right. And I come back and like Dustin, where were you? And I was like, I saw Marshmello. I'm so sorry, I had to go. And he thought it was the funniest thing.
That's funny. That's funny. It's funny because it's like country artists and like just musicians in general, it doesn't really do anything for me. I'm like, I don't sit there and go, oh my God.
Celebrities in general don't really.
Celebrities, for me, it doesn't do anything for me. Yeah. But you know what? The moment I see a sports person,
really,
I'm just like, oh my God. I feel like, because I wanted to be a baseball player.
Gotcha.
Okay. When I was a kid, you know, so I look at that and go, I look up to that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, because I remember I was backstage at the CMA Awards one year, and Clayton Kershaw
I don't know.
He was pitcher for the Dodgers.
Okay, see, I don't,
yeah, no, exactly.
Cool. I mean, that is cool.
I know.
That is cool.
Dylan does. Yeah. But it's like, and I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Like, then I got all like, I'm like, dude, I got to take my picture with you, you know. And I got my picture taken with Clayton Kershaw. It's
That's
like,
cool.
So now I know how like some of these fans feel with like some of the artists that they admire and they look up to and all that. But it's funny because it's like, okay, cool. Garth is over there. All right, cool, whatever. Well, you know, I'm just like.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even know who Garth Brooks. I mean, I knew who he was, obviously, but I remember we did a show. We did open for him once, and we met him, and I didn't know, and like had lunch with him, and didn't know, and he was like sitting right there next to us, and I had no clue. I thought he was a crew guy, right? Because he's like in sweatshirt, and like you can. I mean, I had no idea what he looked like.
Right. That's so.
I shouldn't say that. 'Cause that's so embarrassing. Because I'm in country music, and I had no idea what he looked like. But
and now you're probably going to do his next video.
Maybe that'd be sick. You know? That'd be great. But there were a couple celebrities we met. We did like. You know, we did late night shows, so I got to meet Pierce Brosnan once, and I was like James Bond. This is the coolest thing in the world.
See, it's like it's shit like that. That sometimes
and there's a few people I get so excited about for sure.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig's on the list for sure. I want to meet Daniel Craig really bad.
Another Bond,
big Bond guy.
That's so funny, man. Yeah. That's so funny. Going back to like us working together in the beginning, it was. Those two videos back to back, it's like, you and I have just kind of like developed this relationship of like, the trust, like a lot of people on a crew, like a director with a DP and a DP with a Steadicam op and like, that whole thing, it's like, I felt like when I was coming up, being on music video sets, I learned a lot and shooting behind the scenes stuff because I was able to like, really kind of like see the relationships and the fun that they had, or like some asshole directors or whatever, or whatever DPs or whatever back in the day. And I feel like I like to have fun on my sets of music videos. I always want to come in with an energy of like, let's have fun. This is our jobs that we get to do this for a living.
It's weird how it is a job.
Right.
You know what I
mean? I know. It's like,
I feel like we're not.
I can't even say that it's a job because it's not, I mean, it's like we get to do something fun that we get to get paid for.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, being on set with you and like other people that we work with that we've done a lot of jobs together, it's like we just get it now. It's like I could look at you and you're just like, I got you, dude.
I already know what you want. Yeah, I already know what moves
Exactly.
you want. We'll just knock it out. That's why me and Dylan are too. It's like, it's why I think he likes me a lot too. It's just like, he's like, okay, we're gonna do this. He doesn't even say.
Yeah.
Or he'll talk in the comms and say, okay, we're liking the high, we're liking the low.
Yeah.
And then I go, cool, and I just get more.
Yeah.
And hunt for more stuff. So.
So obviously you moved into the SteadyCam world and we did those videos together. And I know we did other stuff, you know, in between all of that until you bought your own SteadyCam. Did you get your own SteadyCam?
I did, because I was renting the one from Fly High. So this is right after, like, during COVID. It was like when I was like, okay, it's time to make a switch. Because I was getting kind of tired of the road. I was going on 4.5 years at that point.
Yeah.
And I was getting kind of burnt out, and I definitely wanted to change. I wanted to be home more really badly because I was just traveling so much with Dustin, which was great. But I was with him all the time, even for like personal vacations. I was going with him to photograph even those.
Yeah. Were you still on salary? I mean, obviously at that point. So you were on salary for how long? 4 years?
Until 2021, February of 2021 was like my salary went away.
Gotcha.
It got reduced during COVID.
Yeah.
A fair amount, like everyone's.
But I know it's a shame what happened to a lot of people during COVID.
But they were great to us because during that really hard time, they made it work.
Yeah.
And they got the PPP loan and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
And really tried to take care of as much as they could, at least, you know. Didn't leave us high and dry, which was nice.
Some people got lucky with some of the artists, you know, that kept people on salaries. And then there was a lot of people people lost houses.
Yeah.
You know, they lost marriages.
Yeah.
You know, by being home all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like touring guys where you're gone over 200 days a year.
And then all of a sudden you come home and you're home 200 days. You know, it's
you don't know what to do with yourself. Yeah.
But yeah, so you got your SteadyCam, and you know, by the way, he's probably one of the best in Nashville. Him and Tony Reyes.
Tony Reyes, definitely better.
I have to say Tony Reyes because Tony Reyes is the shit.
No, he's so good.
So you get that, and you start kind of moving more into the music video world. I mean, you were doing music videos, but
beforehand, I was, and then in 2019, I met Dylan Rucker. Was like, because he was on the road as well.
Yeah.
So we would DM once in a while here and there, and he's.
You actually answered his DMs?
I would. Well, maybe I need to look back. Maybe I don't know if I did. I need to scroll for a while. We sent a lot of memes now, so who knows? It'll take a while. But he DM'd me and said, "Hey, like I heard you have a SteadyCam. Will you come out for this tiny little budget shoot over warm paint?" And I said, "Sure." So I went called up Fly High and I was like, "Hey, can I rent it from you guys?"
And what great practice though, too.
It was great practice. Yeah, it was great just like to do whatever. And I was still working for Dustin, so I didn't really care about trying to make a ton of money yet. You know, it was more just to have fun. And I did that with Dylan. It went really well. Then we started doing more and more, and he was like, "Cool, I need this SteadyCam on every shoot." And I said, "Okay, great." Worked out a deal with Fly High where I would like rent it per month.
Right.
And then realized I was spending so much per month to rent it from them. I was like, "Okay, it's time to gotta buy one."
Yeah.
And so I had a contact at GlideCam.
Yeah.
Because I bought so many GlideCams from them.
Right.
And we did a show in Boston, so I had the rep come out to a show, and his wife loved country music and loved. I think we were out with like Brad Paisley at that point.
Amazing.
Loved Brad Paisley, and so he was like, "Anything you need, anything you need, I got you." And I was like, "I need the cheapest GlideCam that can hold over 40 pounds, at least 50 pounds," because I was starting to do. Like the Zephyr can only hold 24 pounds. Yeah. I think at one point I had like 40 pounds on there. So like on the risk of like definitely breaking, and the arm wouldn't even lift it. Now I'd have to like lift it up myself half the time. And so I was emailing, calling him, and he worked out a deal. I think I paid, I don't know, $7,000, $8,000 for that first one. And that could hold the weight. Yeah. I had like no money left in my bank account after that.
Hey,
it was like
that shit pays off, dude.
Yeah, but
that's an investment into yourself.
It was so scary. I had maybe $500 left, and it was like, okay, let's just see what happens. And it worked out. Being
scared is good. Yeah, it makes you work harder, dude.
I guess, but I just bought a house the year before, and so it was like that too.
But look at you now, dude.
Yeah, I know it's way better now, but still very scary.
So then you decided to move on from Dustin, and not just because of just Dustin. It was just more you wanted to just excel more in the career.
I liked being home. I really liked being home, and I didn't realize you could make money full time just shooting music videos in Nashville and just working in that in the film. I didn't know the film industry was that big in town. We
had some conversations about, and we've talked about this before, that I feel like, you know, when the whole COVID thing happened, and touring shut down. Maybe was that kind of a point where it was like, okay, well, there's no touring here, but the content people in Nashville were getting so much work because it was the only avenue.
So that's what helped a lot, is because we were getting all the late night shows.
Yeah,
and so I was doing all the SteadyCam stuff for these late night shows for John Party, and then they sent off to Jimmy Kimmel, and like that was what we were doing.
Yep.
And that helped a ton.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of that. They were spending randomly, decent budgets to come out just to do shoot those.
Exactly. I mean, they were spending a lot of money on that. Like we did well in 2020.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people didn't, but like
it was the end of 2020. It wasn't, and 2021 was good. 2020 wasn't amazing.
I remember we did a show with Chris in, I think it was like Georgia or something, close to Atlanta or something, I think. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it was like during the whole 2020. It was at the end of 2020. And we did a show in a stadium where they like blocked out, and you could only have like 4 people in it. It was like, come on, really? Like,
so crazy.
It was so weird.
What a weird time, man.
Thing.
What a weird time.
I have to cut to the photo on that of the drone that I took looking down on the stadium with the squares in the
little
the
locked
field.
off thing.
Man, so weird. But then so now you're off the road, and in 2021, and now what? I mean, like, obviously you were getting a lot of work.
Yeah, it picked up a lot for sure.
Because I feel like Dylan was getting a lot of work too.
Yeah, I definitely owe a lot to him.
Yeah,
because he was very ray driven.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so that helped a lot. And he'd always push for me to get on there, and it wasn't, the rate wasn't great half the time, but it was still work, and I was still being busy.
Yeah, and you're learning. I mean, that's
every day was a learning thing, especially, and yeah, it was nice. It was such a change of like not having to edit too. Was like the biggest thing. Was like, this is so nice. Not having to shoot and edit was just like such a game changer.
Yeah, man. Now, kind of rewind it back a little bit when you were out on the road with Dustin. What was the process that you like? I know you guys did like the video thing every day and stuff like that, but like in a show situation, because I feel like a lot of these photographers and videographers that are coming up that have never done like shows and they want to do shows. What was your process like after every show? Did you have to edit photos and deliver to them like immediately type thing, or the next day?
Photos were like, if I could get them that night, I would try to get them up that night to him.
Right.
It depended on like Wi-Fi and trying to get them uploaded to Dropbox that night. But I think that's why he kind of did like me, because I was sending him photos that night.
Right.
Usually after the show, I was sending him a link and saying, pick a photo you want to post for tomorrow, or pick a photo you want to post tonight even.
Yeah.
Because that's why, that's what I learned in college was journalism, was you are in photo mechanic, editing quickly as you can, trying to send it off. And that was like your grade if you could get it off soon enough. You know? And so like, every night after I would shoot a show, let's say we started at, if we were headlining at 9 p.m., we'd be done at 11, shoot a show and go straight to importing all the footage. I would take my shower then before the crew guys were done, because always they would yell at me, and they didn't care. They were super nice, but they would just not like it if I would
do the same thing.
So I would knock that out and like get all cleaned up and get on the bus, and I would like then start editing all the photos and like figure that out, and then send them a link for photos. And then for a while they had their own, they wanted like a video as well, like for every week or every show they wanted a video, but that got really monotonous because it was all I would do is I was sprinting around. I was getting 15, 20,000 steps a night just because I was running around all these shows trying to get enough footage that was fresh, even though I had it from the night before. And so we switched it to like a couple of shows in a video, which really helped.
Yeah, I think I averaged like 5 or 6 miles on a show day.
I mean, it's crazy. I was just jumping over like bicycle racks too, just like trying to get things and sprinting, and security guards are chasing after me because I didn't flash my badge quick, long enough for them to see. And well, I always feel like when the show is over, it's like that's all the fun, and then you have to shift into the job. Yeah, where the job is the editing. And it's like you got to get the job done. And it's like I feel like that's the important part, because there is somebody on the other side that's waiting for it, or Dustin's waiting for it, or management's waiting for it. And they're expecting it. I mean, especially the hardest part I do now, like especially with a lot of these shows, it's a completely different topic now, kind of in a way, but was when something would happen during the show and Dustin saw it, and it was a moment that he saw. And if you were backstage at that point, running to a different angle, and you didn't see it, that telling me like, oh no, I didn't get that. Was like really, really taxing after a while. And there were times where I missed. There were definitely a lot of moments you would miss.
You're one guy.
Yeah. So there's only so much you can do.
Exactly. And it's like, if especially being a photographer and a videographer, and you're capturing both photo and video. It's like, you could probably catch this on video, but you're going to miss a photo of it. Or you could catch it on photo, but you're going to miss a video.
And so there was times where I'm running a video with one hand and taking photos on the other. And just like spraying and praying, and hopefully.
I wish I could see like a photo of that. If you
just like holding one and hoping I'd get it, and then just like taking photos. I think I did it. There was like a proposal on stage, and you can see me where I have like I'm holding a GlideCam with a C100 on it, and taking photos at the same time. And then in the end, I like actually used the photo in the edit, even, which was kind of cool. But they're divorced now too, by the way. Very quickly after, actually, which is funny.
That's funny. That's really funny. I love, man. I'll tell you though, when you were editing some of the Dustin stuff, some of those recap videos were so dope.
They were so fun. They were so fun. Nothing compared to the stuff today.
I remember you were putting some serious work into that, and I remember there would be times you'd be up until 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning working on that.
There was times I'd be up with the bus driver because we'd go to the next location or the next venue, and I'll be up with him all night long because he was up and he had someone to talk to at least. Or,
you just sitting in the front lounge?
Just sitting in the front lounge or sitting right in the front seat. So just something to keep you awake otherwise because you just get so tired. I do remember once we did a show. I don't know where we were, but we were going to Oshkosh, Wisconsin the next day for the big air show. And I remember I like had so much work to do that night that I didn't, as soon as we got there is when I went to bed for like an hour because I was so excited to go outside because it was like this biggest air show in the world. So, but
we're going to touch on that air thing in a second for sure. Okay. So you're now, like I said, you're off the road now with Dustin. That's pushed aside now, and now we're kind of in this era of where you're at now. You've done a lot of stuff here in Nashville. You've shot a lot of music videos, man, and just like a lot of other things. I mean, you and I, we do marketing commercials together. We've traveled all over the country doing funeral home commercials.
That's my favorite ones to tell people. Like, what kind of stuff are you doing? Oh, funeral home commercials. Like, what? What do you mean?
I work in country music and funeral homes.
So good, so good.
But those are fun though. They're different. I feel like it takes us out of the entertainment world, and we get to go in and we do something different.
It's not you're not a guy girl bar music video, like it happens a lot. But it's also, it's like a lot of people go, oh, it's not a guy girl bar music video. I don't really mind them. I mean, it's a music video. It's work, and it's better than a cubicle, and you're still shooting something cool and with a cool artist. You don't know who it could be. It could be, I mean, a baby artist that is nobody now, but then in a year later, you're like, oh my gosh, I shot that video for him, and he's doing a stadium now. You know.
But I like, I mean, it's funny. We've been able to travel together a lot, man, on doing these shoots and, just doing other stuff. I think we did Crash My Playa a couple times, didn't we? Or one time?
Yeah. I don't think I went 3 or 4 times, 5 times maybe.
And then just like randomly a couple months ago, I was flying up to
Detroit. Yeah.
Was
it Detroit or where was it going?
It was going to Detroit because you were shooting that car thing.
I was shooting for Ford for their new F-150, and it's like a live event that I was going to. That was so weird.
Daniel and I like travel a lot together, and it's like I like get on the plane. I'm like, wait, what are you doing here, dude? You're like, come on, let's sit together.
So good. I honestly thought I wasn't going to travel much after being off the road.
And now you probably travel a lot.
I still travel, nowhere near as much, but a lot. Fair enough. But
do you like it? Do you still like to travel?
It's more stressful now. I got more gear, and so it's like really, really scary.
You're like a drummer.
And then you see a video, and then you see them tossing it, and you're like, oh god, no, that's not good.
Right,
that's not good.
But you're shooting like a lot of commercial stuff as well.
Not as many commercials. I mean, a few, but more music videos still, and then live events. Yeah, there's been a fair amount this past year.
Yeah, because you go out on the road and shoot. I know you work a lot with Kane and Alex and stuff.
We did a weekend with Kane, which was really cool. That was a lot of fun. It was fun to do a show like as full Steadicam, which was kind of nice, which was cool to do that.
Yeah, I bet that was really cool.
But
did you get to go on stage and do all that?
Yeah, I did a stage. I was the only one that night. Yeah. And I did a stage shot, but Kane wants only his dudes, which makes sense. A lot of artists are very picky about who's on stage because also they know the routine. I don't know the routine. I got to do like one shot for there. And then a little while after that, we did an event. It was a hometown show for Kane, and there were like 4 SteadyCam ops, 2 techno cranes.
Oh, wow.
It was like a big old event that we did.
Yeah.
And me and Tony Reyes are down in the pit running back and forth, and all you hear is Alex screaming at us, "More movement, more movement!" And I saw Alex like a couple months after that, and he was like, "I felt so bad watching the footage back because I didn't give you guys a single break. I didn't give you guys a single break." He was like, I had no idea. All I wanted was more movement. I had no clue, and I was like, "Dude, I was dying."
Dude, I'm guilty of that. I know there's times that you've had the Steadicam in your hand, and I'm just like, no, keep going.
Oh man! And what's funny is like people look at it and it's like, oh, it's not, because it really isn't that heavy.
Right.
It can.
But it is.
But it is because it's like.
But it's about balance, though.
It's away from your body. It's like you can hold 40 pounds here for a really long time. Hold 40 pounds out here. It's just a different your arm, and then just the way it is, the leverage on it too. It gets kind of.
So funny. What's been some of the highlights, like music video highlights here in Nashville? Kind of want to focus in a little bit on the country scene, but like, give me like your top 3 most favorite music videos you've worked on here in Nashville.
I feel like it's always ones that are most recent because those ones I can remember the best, because the ones a while ago I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I did that one too. Yeah. We just did one recently. He's not country. David Kushner. I don't even know him. He's really big in Europe. Really big on TikTok.
We are going to talk about that here in a second too, because we talked about it with Dylan.
Yeah, that was probably one of my most favorite ones recently.
Oh man!
But that was also one of the most brutally taxing him up. It was really tiring.
Fuck it. Let's talk about it now.
Okay, we can come back to
it's badass, dude.
It's pretty cool.
You and Madison, Dylan, and I don't know who the director was. I don't know who he is.
Matt, I've never worked with him either, but great editor.
Oh my! Did he edit it?
I'm pretty sure he edited it as well. Wow. Him and a couple other guys, and then the VFX. It was insane.
Dude, that skull tower that Madison built.
Insane.
What?
Yeah. And the probe lens too. Even.
Oh my gosh! I know. It's just some of the shots in there I really love because the edit is so frenetic. Mm-hmm. There's so much going on at some points, and then there's like that cool like VFX thing where it's coming out at like
wild. We shot that. So like they had me because I handheld operate that as well. So I did Dylan did one shot near the end of the night because I was cooked. I was fried, and so I couldn't do any more. And so Dylan did like the last couple shots handheld in the grave. But for them, when they're standing there, like you have to just walk around them. Like, when you do like a LiDAR thing on your phone? Yeah. Like you do that, what we were doing with the big old camera, where it's like moving around them and trying to capture every angle and keep it steady-ish. Wow. But you have to just get every weird angle. And then they like put that in a computer and composite.
So was it all shot on green screen?
No, that was all shot in this warehouse, all black warehouse.
So that VFX shot that comes out of the whole
thing.
So
that was all VFX, but then where they're standing there holding their hands. Yeah. That was like this like composited of like video clips. Wow. Like it was insane. That video, seriously, I actually commented on Dylan's post. I'm like, dude, this raises the bar right here. It's so insane.
Because it's so good.
So good.
It really is. It's different. It's not country music, obviously, but it's like, it's just the creative on it was so cool. It was kind of simple, the color and all that
overall,
stuff. But
even the concept was kind of simple, but it was cool. It was really cool.
So good. Shift to the country music. What are the top 3?
Few country music. I'd have to like look. We just did one with Kane Brown recently too. I liked that one a lot. Yeah. I liked the Megan Maroney one we did a lot. That was another good one. Yeah. The Kane Brown was cool because it was a lot of. We got to really use the Trinity in a cool way of like rotating the head and like having that kind of control and jibbing around. Right. Really liked that. I don't know.
What's your favorite shot ever?
My favorite shot ever? Yeah. I feel like you're thinking of one that I should know, but I don't know it. Oh, gosh. What's your favorite shot we've ever done?
The one that you did on stage with Chris Young at the end of a bar.
That one was cool.
Dude.
That was a cool night as well.
So I ended up directing the At the End of a Bar video with Chris Young and Mitchell Tenpenny, and we had Daniel on the shoot as our Steadicam op, and we did this big live thing in downtown Nashville on Broadway.
What a location, because it
was so crazy. It was so crazy because kind of the story behind this, and not a lot of people know this story, but it's like it was July 5th, And on July 4th, Brad Paisley did his show, his big 4th of July show, and they had the stage set up, and they allowed us to use the stage on the next day. So the city like kind of granted it to Chris Young and management at the time that was like, all right, well, let's do a music video. Let's do it live, you know, and have that live look. Because when I wrote The Treatment, I had kind of this Bohemian Rhapsody of Freddie Mercury behind him with the crowd, and I'm like, man, we just need to achieve that somehow.
Yeah.
We got to pull off that shot, you know, as like one of the last shots. And so I'll never forget, we were there all day and we were setting up all the cameras, all the positions and everything. We were ready to like get in and shoot, and they had put out into Nashville, like on radio and everything, that Chris Young is going to shoot a music video downtown Nashville, be there. It's a free show, and he's going to put on a show afterwards and all that stuff. And like, I think it was like, we were supposed to shoot at like 7:30.
Yeah.
And I think it was like 5:00.
Yeah.
And there was probably like maybe 1,000 people in front of, and now 1,000 people sounds like a lot of people.
It's not.
But it's not a lot of people.
It was very empty.
When you're on Broadway and you want to try and fill it up like 4th of July.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like an hour later, that whole street was just flooded with people. I was like, oh my God, it's going to work. It's going to happen, you know? And I mean, we were using lenses, those long lenses. What was that? Big Cook lens. There's only like 3 in the country or something. We ended up using some of that, but there was this shot at the very end of the video where I had the idea of Chris, we singing to the crowd, and then he turns around on the breakdown and he sings the last line as Daniel is pushing down, and it's just the most epic shot. I love, man, for that video to end with that, it was just perfect to me. And
that was another perfect example of you pushing me to the end, because the whole time I'm running in the pit for the other 15 takes we did.
Exactly.
And then the last one, you're like, okay, be really, really smooth going down this ramp. Not even just like a smooth stage. It was a ramp that was at least 50 degrees. I mean, it was so steep. And Matt Ennis is like trying to spot me and make sure I don't fall, you know. And
I think we only did it like maybe 2 or 3 times because of just the crowd. We didn't want to have the crowd to be impatient. We had to play back. We actually had to play back for the crowd. And which was another wild thing, is that song hadn't been released. Nobody knew the song.
Oh, really?
But by the time the second time that song was played, people were actually singing along.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It was crazy. And so it was like, okay, well, we can't lose the crowd, but we have to bring up cameras on the stage to get this shot. And we did it, dude.
See, how do you go from tour photographer and like kind of being in the shadows to suddenly you're in charge and have to tell the artist, okay, we're gonna do this
in front of 20,000 people.
And just suddenly you're running the whole show, and like if it doesn't work out, it might be your fault. You know what I mean? Like that stress is gotta be.
Dude, I don't know. My brain takes me to a place where it's just, I don't know. There's things that sometimes I don't remember because I don't know.
I black out.
Just kind of black out. It's like we just make it work. We just have to make it work. You know, that's kind of the attitude I have. It's like if we got to do it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we have to get this, and we got it.
That was a cool one. I do like that
shot,
video a lot.
Man. It was fun. That was a 2-day shoot as well.
Yeah,
and then next morning, we're like, we just did this in front of 20,000 people. I remember.
That day one? That was day one.
That was day one. Day one
dude. Was that.
Yeah.
And then day two
day two we're
losers or winners or something. Yeah.
Shooting. And I remember Mitchell Tenpenny coming up to me afterwards. He goes, "Man, holy shit! I didn't even know that was going to be what that was." You know, he's like, there were so many people, and man, that was so much fun. You know, it was just like. It was wild.
That was like right when he was starting to pop off too, so he was probably not used to the big crowds.
Exactly. I mean, so all those shots of him running out on the stage and Chris running out on the stage, that was all you doing your thing, dude.
That was fun.
You know, these are the memories that we'll have for a lifetime.
Yeah,
you know,
I totally agree.
But so you didn't give me your top 3 yet, though.
There's just so many. I really can't just pick one. I mean, there's so many really cool videos we've done.
Right.
There was one really fun day I do remember. Do you know Travis Denning?
Yeah,
dude,
he's cool.
He's super chill, and we did a video where he was like making fun of like old '90s music videos, and that was just such a fun day.
Is that when he like dressed up as like Garth Brooks or something?
Yeah, and it was like called
Or
Abby.
something.
It was like the song's called Abby because it's like whenever your phone autocorrects from baby to
Right,
Abby, and your
right.
girl goes, "Who's Abby?" You know,
Right.
it's like, no, wait, hold up. And so it was such a funny day, and it was right after I had a really bad day actually of operating, and I went to this shoot, and it was like such a nice day. Everyone was so nice. And he was so funny. I mean, the looks he was giving us, we're running around him, and he's like just giving us, he's just being so ridiculous and so goofy. Right. And I think that was one of the first times I saw like an artist that was like, you know, decent size, being really goofy and just being themselves. And
yeah. Travis is great. We did a Boots and Hearts thing last summer, and I remember he was on the show. And, you know, he's a great guy. I remember when I was out on the road with Chris, he would come up on the bus and just kind of hang with Chris, you know, and stuff like that. He's a good dude. I like that guy.
Yeah, there's been a couple of others, but people have had to like Google before, or not Google, but like I know my mom would really be like, I did a Bon Jovi one recently, and like my mom was like, "No way!"
You
like,
did a Bon Jovi video?
His last Christmas video. It was Christmas song he did.
Dude, come on.
I mean, I know him, but like, you know, it wasn't like a huge.
So
fan
besides Bon Jovi, then like what's like the biggest artist you've worked with?
Biggest. I did a Tim McGraw one forever ago. He's pretty big.
Yeah.
Kane Brown's pretty big.
Yeah.
Greta Van Fleet, which is like another big band. They were really fun. Those videos are always kind of weird and fun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Would you ever dive into the pop world or rock world?
I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to. Pop world would be fun because they usually have bigger budgets. They want to push it more. I feel like Nashville likes to play it too safe.
Yeah.
Which is not fun, you know?
And we're limited, I feel like. You know, obviously budgets, time,
sure.
You know, and everything needs to be done really fast.
I feel like even creative. I feel like pop world, like the artist gets more involved in what the video is.
Yeah.
I feel like Nashville doesn't really. I mean, even remember with Dustin even was like, he would get treatments in and he would like pick a treatment.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting. I feel like wouldn't it make more sense if the artist was like working with a director they liked?
Yeah, exactly.
And like then come up with a cool treatment. I mean, obviously it works either ways. You know, sometimes you just don't know what you want for your video.
Well, that's what I love, you know, about doing music videos with artists. It's like I like to kind of dig into their brain. Like, what does the song mean to you?
Yeah.
You know, because who knows, they may write the song or they may have written the song.
I feel like those are the best videos.
They are. I mean, I feel like that too, because it's like, it's a personal thing, you know, and it's like, okay, well, what's your vision? When you wrote this song, like, obviously you saw something. What did you see? Tell me what you saw. Let's put it on film. Yeah. You know, that's what I love, you know, but I love pop videos, man.
Pop videos are cool.
You know, it's just, and have you ever seen, it's really funny. Have you ever seen, like, have you gone to YouTube and looked at like Bollywood videos, music videos?
Yeah.
Dude.
Insane.
Like, those are huge budgets.
Have you seen Bollywood movies?
Yeah.
Look up Triple R. Incredible.
Really?
I mean, I think it's like 4 hours long, but the most ridiculous movie I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
It's insane.
I'll tell you.
You don't even know what to expect. And they're doing crazy VFX. I mean, not just like building little things. They're like building whole towns in VFX.
Yeah. And like me and my wife, we go to this Indian place.
That's so crazy. Sorry, I just noticed you said that.
Isn't that wild?
That's wild.
I know. It's good though. I love it.
No, I bet. That's great. Was Jeff Johnson married? What?
She's the shit.
Yeah, that's so cool.
But it was funny because we'll go to this Indian place in Cool Springs that we love. It's the total hole in the wall. But they have these two screens up in the corners where they're playing Bollywood music videos. And so I'm sitting there eating Indian food going, man, this is new inspiration right here. You know, it's like looking at these like videos with these, like all these dancers and the colors and the camera work and all these angles. It's just like, what, like we need to pull this in, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so good.
Yeah.
You know, I find inspiration in that shit, man.
I love that kind of stuff where it's like big old dance sequences.
Exactly.
And you're just like,
that's exactly what it is.
On?
That's exactly
like imagine
what it
you
is.
couldn't do that though.
They're so fun,
you know, but they are really fun.
It's wild. It's
really
wild.
fun.
You know, but I mean, you know, going back, I mean, I love the country music scene. I love it out here. You know, everybody's great. You know, everybody. I feel like, you know, everybody that I've had on this podcast, it's like we all have gone in a circle somewhere. It's like, you know, Alexa with you doing a Carly video with Dylan and like all these like, you know, kind of like waves of just, we kind of swerve in and out of each other's lives, you know? And I just, man, I love that because it's like, there's the trust, you know, and it's like, you know, that you could get the best people that you've worked with here in Nashville. But
it's funny, we all have that same connection of like everyone was on the road at some point,
I know, right?
doing something.
I'm still on the road.
Yeah, one day.
But I love it. I love it, man.
You love the road.
I do love it. I do. There's just something about the traveling. I feel like it's just been in my blood since I was born.
Yeah.
You know, my dad was a tour manager since he was 18 years old.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, he's been in the music business for a long time.
Yeah.
He tour managed Prince. Oh yeah.
Wow.
He was the LD for the Eagles in the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah. He was Pat Benatar's tour manager.
It's in your blood.
It's in my blood.
Sure.
And my mom was a flight attendant for 36 years. Oh, yeah. So you know,
traveling's just in it.
Traveling is.
My dad was an illustrator, so it's very much at home.
Right.
You know, secluded.
Right.
Don't talk to anyone.
Yeah. So I think honestly, I was like, this was, you know, kind of the meant to be thing, but it. A lot of my friends were like, well, do you ever want to do what your dad does? This was before I got into this, you know? And I'm like, absolutely not. I don't want to go travel and tour and be on the road and stuff like that. And here I am 20 years later.
I think he probably had way more responsibility too. He had to make sure that everyone had to get where they needed to be.
Okay. Can you imagine this, dude? He was in the era of touring when they didn't have cell phones, where they had to use pay phones to advance the next day. They had to like, in order to talk to somebody on the road, the bus had to pull over and get to a payphone. Wow. Can you imagine that? Like, there's no master tour. You had a book that you were sent of like, okay, this is where we're going. And
faxing or something,
exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And then when you didn't hear from anybody until they got to the venue, when they got to the phones. Isn't that wild? What a weird time, man.
Would have been cool with that before social media too.
I know, right?
I mean, you were what were you doing?
I was right on the edge of it.
Like you were, you know.
So when I first started with Josh Groban back in 2004, it was 20 years ago, literally 20 years ago last week.
It's like right when Facebook.
Yeah, there wasn't even Facebook yet.
Really?
It was just websites. Wow. So it was like, oh, okay, let's do some content for this website. You know what I mean? It was like there was no YouTube platform yet. And then when I got my next job, it was with Faith Hill, and then I got to Keith Urban. A lot of that was more content for brands that sponsored the tours. So it's like, okay, cool, AT&T. Oh, you need a little short behind the scenes video of Keith going on stage or whatever. And that was like what they gave their customers that went to a concert or whatever.
Wow.
You know, so it was wild. You know, it was so wild back then. But it's like every change, I embraced every change that happened, and I knew it was happening. There was something that was happening where media was going to be a thing, and it was going to be kind of a direct source of an artist to a fan and a fan to an artist. And look at us now. We're 20 years later. I mean, we're YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram. It's like there is so much content now.
Yeah.
You know, and back then it was like barely anything. I mean, yeah, you had photos and some maybe people go out on the road, but not full time. You know, back then it was like with Keith Urban, it was like, you know, you were a luxury item. You know, now you're a necessity.
Yeah,
you know,
if you don't have
days.
a content guy.
Yeah, it's like.
But now the content guy has 2 cell phones. And that's all it is.
I know. Well, the thing is, it's like now it's like they would rather hire a content guy than a second guitar player. You know, because it's needed.
Yeah, you
have to have it now. You know.
Where do you think it's going to go? What's the next? Are you seeing any other trends that you're seeing besides the vertical and TikTok and?
I just, man, as much as I don't like vertical.
Yeah.
Because we come from, you know, you and I, we come from kind of more of that movie cinematic look, and you just don't really achieve that in vertical.
Yeah.
You know, it's not normal for the human eye to watch vertical video. It looks weird. We're supposed to be like this. Yeah. You know, you're supposed to see this, not this. You know, so I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go. I mean, it's always been kind of always surprising, you know. But I feel like, you know, people that want to get into this, they need to stay ahead of the curve. You know, because what's great about Instagram now, it's like Yeah, you could look at other people's stuff and what they're doing, and you could get inspired by that. I'm still, honestly, it's like 20 years in, I still learn. I still go on YouTube. Like if I'm editing a video, it's like, I kind of want to know how you do this, and it's like, how great is that? That
never stops. That never goes away.
But we didn't have that 20 years ago. It's like, I got to stay up until 8 o'clock in the morning to figure out how to do this on my own. It's like, we didn't have the luxury of looking up on YouTube, like how to do that.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's like, I could still even look and be like, okay, well, this is where the trend is curving, and it's like, let's follow that in a way. It's like these chaotic recap videos in country music, kind of followed, I feel like, Rory Kramer and like Spencer Miller.
I mean, that was my inspiration, was them.
Exactly.
That blonde kid, that one blonde kid or something. Yeah. You're seeing all those videos.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, there it was like this, it kind of turned into this really cool thing, and like people started kind of copying that kind of like look and stuff like that. I don't know, who knows where it's going to go.
Is that still happening, do you think? Is like the crazy edits, so that people still doing
I still see it.
You still see it a fair amount.
Yeah. Spencer Miller, that dude's a badass.
Gibson Hazard stuff too. I know he did some insane stuff with like Drake and he had a whole like VFX team.
Yeah, I want Spencer to do something. I want to do something with him.
Be cool.
Like I feel like we could do like a cool like Carrie thing with him. Because like I just saw something that he posted that he did. Did you see this? The McGraw promo.
I don't think I saw that.
Oh my god, it's so good. And this Keith Urban thing that he did in Vegas. These edits are insane, dude. You got to look them up.
Dang, okay.
Spencer, and I guess Spencer's in Nashville. I've never met him.
No, me either.
Yeah. So Spencer, if you're watching this or somebody's watching this and knows Spencer, dude, hit me up. Let's work, dude.
That's cool. That's so cool.
So what about you? I mean, you're country music now, music videos. What's the goal, dude? Where do you want to go? Please don't tell me I'm going to lose you to film.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's film. I just want to do anything whoever calls, whatever it is. If it's a live event, I want to go do that. Yeah. If it's a music video this one day, I want to go do that.
What if you got a call to do a film in LA for 2 months? Would you do it?
It'd be really hard. If the money was right, yeah, but I couldn't just go do it.
What if the money was right?
I would consider it. But I'd have to like bring my dog. I mean, I couldn't just like leave. There's like so many other factors now. You know what I mean? Like it'd be really tough.
Right.
I like being home, I'm a big homebody.
Yeah.
But like a movie would be sick. I think a movie would be really cool.
Would you ever move to somewhere like New York or LA?
No.
Really?
It's too saturated.
It is.
Even here it's very saturated, which sucks.
You think? Mm-hmm. Has it gotten saturated?
Mm-hmm. Very saturated. Ever since the Volt came out, which is like the little gimbal on the SteadyCam. Yeah. Which makes it really easy now. Yeah. Don't tell anyone, but it makes it really easy now.
We'll bleep that out.
Yeah. That changed it for sure.
Really?
It made it very just like, there's no more learning curve.
Yeah. Tell me about this Trinity thing.
The Trinity? Yeah. That's my new baby.
I want these people to be like, dude, what?
Don't buy one. You can buy another house. No, it's really cool because it just allows so much more.
Does Tony Reyes have a Trinity?
He has one as well.
He does?
Trinity too.
No way. Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha. Go on.
But he doesn't use it as much. Yeah. Because he's so busy. I mean, he's doing so many live events for the NFL. Yeah. I know he wants to go to Paris for the Olympics, and he's really trying to do that again, which would be cool. Yeah, because didn't
he do the Japan thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then his house caught on fire, and he had to go home early.
I remember that, dude. God, that's right. Fear. Oh my God.
Like traveling, man. That's why I don't travel. Stay home.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about this Trinity, dude.
Well, it's the new SteadyCam in a way. It allows you to do so much more, in my opinion, so much more, but it can be overkill as well. I know, do you know Keith Lehman, big DP in town? Yeah,
dude.
So he called me.
I got a story about Keith Lehman. After you tell this, I got to tell this.
Well, he called me up and he was like, okay, well, I'm thinking about getting the Trinity on this shoot. Like, okay, tell me about it. Like, sell it to me. And I was like, I'm not going to sell it well. It could be overkill. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, if you're just trying to do a little SteadyCam moves, it's overkill. Right. If you wanted like a mini techno jib and SteadyCam all kind of in one, it's perfect. Yeah. It's great for that. Yeah. And you can do full 360 rolls, which is kind of like a cool gimmick. It's used once in a while. But being able to go from really low to really high, and I love that aspect of it, and it keeps the horizon perfect, which is really nice as well.
Dude, it's awesome. I mean,
but it's a total learning curve because now my tilt is my thumb, and so it's all backwards.
From glide cam to Trinity in like 6 years.
Yeah, it's a totally different beast, and it weighs double what a SteadyCam does. I mean, I did a job the other day, and we weighed it was 94 pounds altogether.
Oh my god, dude!
Luckily, it was that was cool. I did it. I probably can't say it was for Gibson, but Jimmy Page, he like signed a bunch of guitars. So that was kind of cool.
That's cool.
Jimmy Page signed.
When does that come out? Because this podcast
I don't know. It might already be public.
Oh, okay.
I can Google it. Just Google it before you post.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't sign NDAs. So I don't really care. I don't really sign many NDAs.
Yeah.
If I do, I type it in, so it's not illegally binding.
It's funny. So, got a funny story about Keith Lehman. This is great, man. I don't know. Maybe I haven't told you this story. So, I was on a set with Billy Currington, and they were shooting the music video for Donut. And this was back in like, I want to say this was like 2014, 2015 in that area maybe. And I went to the location, and it was the parking garage somewhere in downtown Nashville where they were shooting his performance. And I get there, and I'm doing BTS for Billy, shooting like all this stuff, and like I've got my 5D with a 51.2 on it, and I'm just kind of like shooting some stuff, and all of a sudden Keith Lehman comes running up to me. He goes, "Man, what kind of camera you got? What is that? What kind of lens is that?" And I'm like, Canon with a 50, 1.2. And when you see Keith, it's like, he's kind of intimidating.
Very scary.
He's got this beard. He's like all tatted up. Yeah. At the time, he didn't have the two front teeth.
He didn't have his gold teeth.
Yeah. And it's like, you're just like, oh my God, who is this dude? And why is he like right up on me, like, grabbing this lens from me? And I cannot wait because Keith is going to see this story.
I love Keith, man.
So he's like, "Can I see your camera really quick? Because the camera's not set yet, but I want to look through your lens, the 50 to see what, where we're at or whatever." So he goes and he grabs it and he takes it and he goes and he sits on the Apple box and he's looking at the shot, and like he comes running back, and you know how energetic he is. He's like totally like,
he gets very excited, which I love. That's why I love working with him. It's just like, it's fun to him still.
Exactly.
It's so fun.
Exactly. So he comes up and he's like, he hands me the camera and he looks at me and he goes, "You look familiar." He's like, "Do I know you from somewhere?" I'm like, "No, probably not." And he goes and he runs back and he's doing the shot and stuff like that. And he's like, I could kind of see him like looking at me. He's like, he kind of looks back and he's doing his thing. And then finally after the shot, he comes back up to me. He goes, "Are you from California?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Jeff Johnson." And I'm like, "What?"
Whoa.
And he goes, "Keith Lehman." I'm like, "What?" Keith Lehman and I were friends in junior high school.
No way.
Yes.
Whoa.
Keith Lehman and I were friends in junior high school, and we hung out. We were like, he would come over to my house.
Y'all are buddies.
We were like 14 years old.
Whoa.
But the crazy thing is back then, there were no cell phones. There was no like, the only communication you really had was just your landline at home, and you called.
"Can I come over?"
But the crazy thing is all of a sudden he moved. And when somebody moved, it was like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to talk to them again,
Yeah.
And so like Keith moved on, and he moved up, I think, to like Lancaster or Palmdale in California or something like that. And then fast forward 2015, 16, we're on set of Donut, and we figured it out that we were buddies, dude, in Cali when we were kids. But the funny thing is Keith was like this, like we were 14 years old. We were like these just like little surfer kids, like wearing rusty shirts and blonde hair.
Wow.
And Keith looks completely different, man.
You have any photos of you two?
I'll tell you what, I don't know if there's any photos of the two of us, but we've got to find some photos for this.
Yeah.
Just
find him at that age and you at that age.
I know, but it's so funny. And then when we had that like thing happen, I remember Kristen Barlow was the director on that, and like all the UMG people were there and all the crew. And Keith's like, "No fucking way, man." He's like, "No way. Oh my God." We're like hugging each other. Everybody's like, "What the fuck is going on over here?"
It's a weird family reunion. They're like freaking out.
Keith Lehman. Can
That's
you believe
so
that,
wild.
dude?
That's small
so
world, man.
wild. And to think like, because I know like he moved to Nashville like kind of in that time, and I know he was doing, or he had told me that he'd done a lot of work in LA, and then he decided to move to Nashville, and then became, you know, one of the best DPs here.
Yeah.
You know, everybody hired him.
Yeah.
Still does.
Yeah.
You know, but like what a dude, like super great heart. He hasn't changed.
So nice.
He hasn't changed.
Just,
he was like that when he was 14 years old,
yeah.
except the tattoos, the beard, the teeth, just, you know, but yeah.
That's so wild. Dude, such a small world. Once in a while it happens. You're just like, no way.
That is a small world. And I think we're like kind of in the same business, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you never would have thought. Because the funny thing is he recognized me. I didn't recognize him at all, dude. At all. Yeah, it was wild.
Wow. Wow. Small world.
I know.
Small world.
Yep. So, okay. Question before we move out of camera talk.
Yeah.
And I've asked this to everybody.
Okay.
You ready for this? And even Rucker and everybody got this. Okay, so here's a question. One camera, one lens on the road for a weekend. What is it? And you're doing video and photo.
Video and photo?
Yeah.
It'd probably be one of the new, like, mirrorless, like the R5 or something. But I'm not really caught up on, like, the newer cameras and, like, a lens, though. Something not versatile, like a 35. I mean, something that, like, you're screwed. Like a 24-1.4 or something like that. Where, like, you have to get up in there.
Right.
Like not a zoom,
awesome.
You know what I mean? Just like one that you
all
like
the
have
answers
to
are so great.
Yeah.
You know,
so something like a new good mirrorless. I don't know what the new one's the best one is right now, but something like a R5 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's awesome.
And like a 24-1.4, I think.
That's
what I would do.
Awesome.
Those are my favorite photos.
Does Canon make a 24-1.4 in RF?
I don't know. See, I'm so out of that loop. It sucks, but
I get it though.
But like Sigma did at least. Yeah. So that's what I bought theirs.
That's so funny.
But those are my favorite, like really wide but shallow depth of field.
Right. Oh,
were my favorite kind of photos.
Yeah, because they just get so close.
Yeah,
you can get so close, man. It's like you are like in.
And
a
Zoom,
world.
you feel like it's not personal at all anymore. And like a wide like that, you can get some really nice photos. One of my favorite photos I took with Dustin were with a lens just like that, 35 or a 24.
Yeah. We got to get some of those photos on this that we splash on.
Yeah.
You know, so flying, dude. You're a pilot.
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy.
I can't fly in clouds, but I am a pilot.
You can't fly. Well,
I'm working on it. I'm working on that next step. Okay.
So what drew you to like flying, man? I mean, like
always loved planes ever since I was really little. I mean, my dad was always the same. Always liked jets and planes.
Yeah.
And even now I have books because my parents are from crazy left wing here, but my parents from Switzerland, so they have a bunch of books. They're all in German, and there's just planes, and there's jets, and I would look at them when I was a kid. Oh, you know what I mean? Just like constantly loved planes, air shows, would always go.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't afford it to get my license. It was just it's expensive. Couldn't do it. And then now with a new career, I was able to save up a little bit and knock her out.
Amazing.
And I really wanted to do it. So.
What was the process on that?
The process is basically to start doing it. You got to go get medical is like the most important thing first is you get your medical done. Because then if you can't pass your medical, you can't fly. You won't get your license.
Yeah.
It also depends what class you want because there's 3 different classes. So we can get like a 3rd class, which is like you can go fly around just for fun, never get paid ever.
Right.
The 2nd class, you can fly cargo and private jets even, and you can get paid to fly and get your commercial license.
Gotcha.
And then 1st class is you have to have like perfect vision, perfect everything.
Really?
And that is like for airline transport, ATP pilot. So you can do like commercial airliner.
Yeah.
I don't want to do. My eyes aren't good enough for.
Really?
Dude, he asked me, read that line on the bottom of the paper across the room, and I said, I didn't know there was a line there. No. Like it was, I could not read it at all.
I ain't
and I was like, I'll get the 2nd class. I got the 2nd class. We're okay.
Right.
So
I mean, it's funny because like this is always, it's always been kind of a secret dream of mine to be a pilot. I like, for some reason, I'm fascinated with airplanes, you know, the kind of like what you are too. And, you know, growing up with my mom as a flight attendant and just traveling all the time, it's like, man, how cool would that be to be a pilot and travel around, you know? But I've always wanted to get my license, and the time has never come, you know, but.
You just gotta do it. Just go do it.
Dude.
Just start, and it might take you a little longer because you can't stay super consistent with it. But if you can fly a couple times a month.
Yeah.
you'll knock it out in no
Would
time.
you ever do it as a job, or is it just like a hobby?
It's my next career, I think. When my back's done, yeah, that's a dream. It'd be
Really?
cool. I kind of want to do medical transport.
But can you have a bad back being a pilot?
I don't know about that, but well, not like bad back, but like
because you said the medical history has to be perfect. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think about that far. But
right.
You don't have to lift anything really heavy necessarily. So
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun to be like maybe like a private pilot or something.
Private pilot would be cool, but I don't know if I could. Like I met a couple private pilots, and they're very much so on their boss's schedule,
right?
And so, like I
but
know,
I bet they make a lot of money.
They make a lot of money, but there's some that are in Virginia, and like when a big snowstorm comes in, their boss goes, "Oh, I'm going to the Bahamas," and they have to leave their wife and kids and go, "I'm going to the Bahamas for a week,"
right?
And they're just trapped down there. I mean, in the Bahamas, so like poor them, but like still, like the family aspect is like really tough.
Yeah. So where are you at now with all of that? Like, so what are your restrictions? Like, what can or can't you do?
The only thing I can't do is fly in clouds. Like, I have to fly visual flight VFR, which is visual flight rules. So I have to be able to see at least 5 miles.
Is there a point that can you get past that?
I just passed my written for that for the instrument rating, and so now I need to start flying again.
Yeah.
But work's kind of slow right now, so I'm not trying to spend any money. I'm trying to go take lessons. So I need to do that, and then I'll get another check ride, and that'll, it shouldn't take too long. But eventually I'll pass that.
What's the longest flight you've done so far?
Me and a buddy, we flew up to Michigan to Faster Horses, and we had a headwind the whole way. So we flew for like 4.5 hours. So it was kind of brutal, but it was really fun. And then what's scary is we landed, and we went to Faster Horses, and he managed an artist up there, so we went and watched the show.
Right.
We're flying. We're about to take off and come back. We check the oil. It's just a little low. I mean, it has oil. It's just a little low.
Right.
And this plane has a diesel engine, so it's like a different kind of oil than like a regular little Cessna has. And there's one bottle left in the plane, and it's like half full. And we're like, oh man, we have no funnel, nothing. And so we're like, okay, what do? We like take a water bottle and like dry it off and cut it and make it a funnel. Doesn't really work, and see there's like a trick you can do with the dipstick and like pour oil in it, and it like was perfectly enough to get to the right level, but it was terrifying. And then we flew the whole way back. Another funny story with that too is we were flying back 10,500 feet because you gotta do like VFR 500 feet increments. We're flying over Louisville, and all the UPS planes are coming into Louisville, and so that's wild. These big 747s are right underneath you the whole time, and you hear them talking. So we're talking to air traffic control the whole way down, and my buddy's really, really quiet. And I'm like, man, are you okay? And he's getting really, really quiet. And right around that altitude is when you can start getting hypoxic, when you start running out of oxygen.
Right.
And I think he was starting to get a little bit of a headache from that. Because at night, you really shouldn't go that high because it can affect your vision even.
Yeah.
But at night in a single-engine Cessna, you want to have as much time as you can to find an airport. So I like to go really high. Even at night, it's not the best, but it's better if you lose an engine.
So with that, like you have to get clearance to go high. I mean, you're allowed to do that.
So
right?
up to... You don't need any ATC clearance, and up to like 18,000 feet or something like that.
Gotcha.
So if you wanted to, you need oxygen after 12,500 or 15,000. You need oxygen.
Yeah.
But you can if you just want to go up there. But above that, you need like you need clearance because that's like Class A.
So you said
airspace.
You were flying at night. You can fly at night?
I can fly at night. I can fly as far as I want to go, as long as I want to go.
So if you can't fly in clouds, what if you take off from somewhere and it's clear where you're going, but then it gets cloudy?
You have to turn around. So that's like the big part of the test. Really? Is like what you have to learn is like you don't put yourself in that situation.
Gotcha.
And so a lot of it is like you've got to read the weather. Like biggest part of flying is weather.
Yeah.
And so all you're learning about is weather for the most part, which is the worst because it's so annoying of like different cloud types and convective and
well, it's funny because that's a lot of people when they're on planes and the turbulence and stuff like that, it's like turbulence could be really bad, but the pilots avoid a lot of that, and a lot of people don't know that, but they're trying to keep you out of being a nervous wreck.
Well, even now if I take friends, someone's real low, there'll be a little bit of turbulence, 2,000 feet, 3,000 feet, and I'm like, let's go a little higher because usually there's like a haze layer, you can see it. Go a little higher and it's nice and smooth, and so we're gonna go a little higher and try. And everyone thinks you're real cool. He's like, where the I was like, no, it's just kind of basic. Just get out of that.
Well, because I've always heard what was the movie? What was the Leonardo DiCaprio movie with the airplane Aviator? Or something?
Aviator,
yeah. How they were talking like when they were making the movies where it's like, we're gonna shoot the planes,
and
but
there's no movement because there's no movement
because there's no clouds.
He's yelling to find a weather guy from university. He's like, get him out here! I don't care what it costs.
Yeah, but isn't it like and not back to the movie, but isn't it like something like in there a level like 21,000 or 22,000 is like a really bumpy area or
I don't
something.
know. I never go the highest, so I don't know.
Yeah, because I
Probably.
feel like I've heard that before, where when you're clearing 21 or 22 or something, there's this kind of there's always a
the
bump.
weird air. The weird air is weird, man. Because it's
Yeah.
always moving. It's not
Yeah.
not still. It's never not windy. It's only not windy right on the surface. And,
Yeah.
100 feet up, it's windy.
Yeah.
200 feet it's up, it's windy. And
When
it's
are you
different.
when are we gonna take like a plane to a shoot?
I don't know. One day, I think it'd be so cool.
Let's go, dude.
That'd be so cool. The problem is all my gear. My gear weighs too much, so I can't fit it all either. And so it's like either people or gear.
Right.
But one day that's my dream, is to be able to
I want to go up, dude, because I know we've talked about it.
Yeah.
I would
do it.
love to. I would love to like do like a couple circles around Nashville.
Yeah, that's always fun.
downtown,
Go downtown.
and then go down to like Franklin or something.
Yeah.
Can you fly down near Franklin?
You can fly anywhere you want.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there any restrictions at all around Nashville?
It depends. Well, Nashville, you have to talk to B&A
Gotcha.
because they changed the airspace now. The airspace used to be much smaller, and now it's much bigger.
Yeah.
And so you've got to call them up. It's super. They know. You used to do the downtown loop, and you say, how many
Yeah.
loops do you want to do? And they go, I don't know, 15 minutes worth, or, and just go
Right.
hang out.
Yeah.
And then you just go buzz around somewhere
That's
else.
so
I mean, like, there's
cool,
no.
dude.
What's crazy is like,
That's so cool.
There's no rules. There really are no
Yeah.
rules except the basic airspaces there's
Yeah.
rules. But once you're in a like Class E airspace, you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
Be above 500 feet is the only rule.
Yeah. God, that's so cool.
Or
man.
and if it's not populated, you can go below. I mean, it's terrifying to go below 500 feet, but you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Legally, I've never done it, but you can.
Wait, so 500 feet? How tall are the buildings in downtown Nashville?
So those you have to be 500 feet above, or like 1,000
you have to
feet
be.
away.
So you have to be
from-
500 above the building, or just.
above, I believe. Yeah, from the tallest
Gotcha.
building. But
Gotcha.
that's scary. You wouldn't want to be that
Yeah.
close. It's too risky.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so wild, man.
So
What's like a dream trip on your own plane?
to fly home to Virginia.
Have you
to
done that yet?
Not yet, no.
Really?
Because
How far is that?
it's about a 9-hour drive, and so with a Cessna you cut it in half, so it'd be about 4 hours,
Gotcha.
but it would cost.
Why
like,
don't you do it?
It's expensive.
Is it
I don't
really?
own my own plane, so it'd be really expensive.
So how much does it cost to like rent a plane for a day?
It's ranges from like 160 an hour to 200 to as high up as you want to go.
Really?
I mean, there are planes it's $800
So
an hour.
they're just like little Cessnas that you could fly now.
Mhm.
What is it, like 2 people, 4 people?
4 people, depending on
Damn.
weight. It's all about
Yeah.
weight. So it can
Yeah.
be 2 really heavy people, or 1
Yeah.
really heavy person,
Right.
or 2 people and 2 kids. Or
Yeah.
I've taken 2 other people.
Is fuel expensive too? Do you have to? I mean,
So
obviously
the
you have to pay for
hourly
that.
is wet, so that comes with fuel. So
Right.
you can burn the whole tank if you want.
Yeah.
For the 2 hours you have the plane,
Yeah.
you're only going to spend what the hourly rental is, and if you go fill up, you'd give them the receipt, and
Yeah.
they reimburse you
Yeah.
for whatever that is. So
Have you ever had any of the filmmakers here inAsheville be like, dude, you got to take me up so I can shoot some aerial stuff?
a
in
lot of people
Nashville?
have, but no one ever
Really?
no one ever picks a day. I'm always saying, just let me know when.
Well, because I figure it's like, that
I
would
can't-
that'd be
it's
kind of
hard
cool
to,
for
like-
like a music video or something.
It would be cool, but I feel like it'd be tough though too, because they're way smaller than you think on the inside, and they're flight school planes. So I don't know if they would let me attach a camera on the outside.
Right.
I think they would be.
That
they'd
would be
frown
the
up-
next
They would
thing,
frown
dude.
upon that eventually.
That would be the next thing.
I mean, the dream job. Fred North on Instagram.
Yo,
that's
dude,
that's the dream job.
I watched some of his videos and I'm just like, oh my God, that dude is nuts.
Yeah,
But like,
that's the dream.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah.
Like just seeing some of those videos, I'm just like, oh my God, dude. Like he's doing like this and
Yeah.
this and
Flying
moving,
underneath
like,
bridges and
oh
stuff.
my God.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh man.
And he's done all the big movies. I mean, he's usually
Everything.
in them.
Yeah. Yeah. So wild.
So crazy.
So
That'd be
cool.
the dream, though.
Yeah.
Just seeing, like, I love seeing his trailer and he pulls his helicopter. Man, what?
Right.
So bad.
Wait, he has a trailer.
He has, I'm sure he owns a couple helicopters. And He has
Yeah.
a trailer for him as well that he, like, puts them on and drives them around. And then, like, imagine showing up to set and you've got to, like, unload a helicopter and attach the blades and just, like, all this gear.
Dude,
and,
helicopters kind of freak me out, man.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Well, in theory, they're safer than planes, but also not at the same exact time.
Yeah,
because a
'cause it's
helicopter,
like-
if you lose an engine, you can land in a much smaller area.
Right.
If you lose an engine, like a single engine plane, you can glide, which is great, but you need a much bigger area to land.
Yeah, true. Interesting.
But
Scary.
you can get much lower in a helicopter, which is
Yeah.
kind of nice. Too.
Yeah. Really great stories, dude. I love this. This is awesome. But I gotta, the great thing about you, dude, it's like, you came in from out of town. You came in. You did film school. You were an actor back in the day, dude.
Way back in the day.
I got to see this
I was even
footage, dude.
I was even an extra.
We're
in a few,
using
like,
it.
Really?
We're using it. If you could get it, I'm putting it
I have a
on this
screenshot
podcast.
from when I was an extra on like a National Geographic movie, even.
Freaking love
about
this,
killing
dude.
Kennedy.
I love this.
Because I did worked in casting a bit too, and my boss would just like send my photo up on the board if the director would pick extras, and they would like select once in a while. So I made that $150 a day to go stand next to the lead. That's
amazing. That's amazing. But I feel so. I mean, like with you, like I said, it's like you came from that. You came to Nashville, or you were in Kentucky. You got picked up, and you went out on the road and all that stuff. It's like you've been able to do like really well for yourself. Honestly, you have. I mean, you crush every single video that you and I have ever worked on. I mean, it's like, go back to that thing where we were talking about. It's like we just look at each other and it's like, I know you got me, dude. But it's like, any advice that you would give to like, say somebody that's starting out that's like, man, I freaking love that Daniel Vorlet's work, man. I kind of want to do that. Because the thing is, I get DMs all the time of like people saying,
how do you start? How do you do this?
Like, or how do I get your job? And it's like, I feel like I can't answer everything all the time. So like creating this podcast is like such a good way of like, inspiring the next batch of people that come up and,
I think
take our jobs.
That's fine. Eventually it's going to happen. We're going to get old and it'll be done. So it's okay. I think just start small and just find what you like to do about like if you want to be on set, let's say, that's probably the hardest thing to try to get into. You can start as a PA. Everyone starts as a PA at some point, getting coffee for the director. It's not the work, it's fine. You get on set. Just starting small and just shooting stuff for yourself even was always great. If you can buy your own camera, that'd be great. And then start and shoot. There's always artists that want, if you want to shoot music videos, always artists that want something. They might not have any money for you, but everybody wants something.
Exactly.
Everybody wants content. It's just start real small and don't like get overwhelmed and look at social media and say, oh, they're doing so much better and it's all fake. All that stuff is so fake. So just, do it, have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously yet.
And then what about like gear? Obviously you went from GlideCam to now you're Trinity. It's like, obviously it's a cost. But
again,
it's like,
start small and find use and find people who have one that you could rent even. Or just start really small. I think that's the best way. And don't be embarrassed. I remember even with buying the GlideCam, on all the forums, you're looking up SteadyCams, right? On these forums, people are like, no, buy this brand. It's so much better. Don't even mess with GlideCam.
Right.
GlideCam was the best customer service I've ever had with any company. Ever. And still, even with Airy and Tiffin and GPI, it's like GlideCam was the best. I would call the guy up and he would overnight me screws that I needed, or tell me how to fix things. Or if I need a loaner, he would overnight me one right away. And these bigger companies, you don't get that at all with. And people, and like in the forum, people would talk crap about GlideCam because I think it's like it's a prosumer or whatever, brand, but they're pretty solid. I mean, never had any issues.
It's great to learn,
never had any issues. It was loud. That arm. Remember the arm? It was I figured out how I fixed it in the end. I needed a bunch of WD-40. But
you just needed a couple screws sent from the company.
I mean, honestly, I maybe go more. But I mean, otherwise than that, there was, once the screw popped off and he was like, oh, this is how you fix it, do this.
Any other advice that like getting into the industry or getting into your line of work after like learning all this, like
is like find like-minded people for sure. Because I think that helped a lot. Having Dylan Rucker in my corner really helped a lot. Because even early on, he would get jobs. I mean, we did a job for Maren Morris a long time ago, and there was a producer who didn't work on the project at the end, but like was like, "Who's this SteadyCam up? Who is this guy? How is he only at this rate? It's like way lower than normal. Like how's the deal?" Dylan's like, "No, he's my dude. Like I'm gonna get him on there," and he really fought for me a lot, which was cool, and that helped a lot excel my career way quicker. Because he was getting bigger jobs, and then they're like, "I've got a cheap Steady," and that would help. Because I would just get on that and
you're the one that referred me to Dylan Rucker.
Was that really?
Yeah.
That's
Remember
so
I texted you. I'm like, dude, top 3 DPs in Nashville right now.
That's so funny.
Number 1, Dylan.
Yeah. I mean,
I texted and then I reached out and I was like, dude, I need you for a video.
Love the dude, hate the dude. We clash once in a while, but for the most part, definitely,
I told him that.
Owe it to him.
I told him that the other day.
Really?
It was like,
that's so funny.
I know.
I definitely owe a lot to him. Owe a lot to you. I mean, just find people who will just take genuine people who will take care of you and look out for you.
Yeah.
And then try to be as good of a hang as you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, you'll have bad days, but It's mostly about the hang.
Dude, I'll tell you, I love working with you, dude.
Same.
You're always, I'm always calling you, dude.
Yeah, I love it.
We've done so much shit together. It's
so
crazy.
At this rate, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's going to continue, dude. It ain't stopping, dude.
Yeah.
This isn't the end, that's for sure.
I know. So good. So good.
Well, dude, thank you for coming out
thanks for having me
actually smiling and talking. And
so we're going to screenshot this.
Because when Daniel's on set, man, he's so serious and he doesn't smile. And every time we point like a camera at him, he's just got the like resting bitch face, man.
Just trying to avoid the back pain.
But it's like I think honestly, this is the most I've ever heard him talk. So yeah, it's kind of cool. But dude, thank you so much for joining me on this, man. Seriously,
fun.
Thanks, brother.
And that's a wrap.